up? I want to welcome everyone back to Drunk Sports Talk, New York's new #1 sports talk show. We are the voice of the streets. It's your boy Cash. You know it's Jay with me. You know it's Q with me. We cut the intro short tonight because we have a very special guest on the show tonight. I know you heard him on WFAN, intelligent, swagged out, sports analyst, radio host. Probably seen him on the Bleacher Report. I know you heard him on the Fan, MLB Network. I know you've seen him on IG, up in Yankee Stadium, hanging out with Juan Soto. Let's be clear with Joey Crack. Let's be clear, the brother's outside, you know what I'm saying? He ain't playing no games. He call it like he see it, straight down the middle. Drop bars, Boris bars, as we like to call him now, you know what I'm saying? And, he's one of my favorite guys on the radio, man. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Keith Mcpherson. Keith, what's up, brother?
Yeah. Yo, what up? I just was looking to see if this was live. We're pre-recording this, right?
Yeah, pre-recording. Yeah, so I can chop it up the way I want to chop it up. You know what I mean? Like NPC.
Smart.
You know what I mean? But we appreciate you being on the show, man. It's an honor. You know, we're big fans of yours. We're not just saying that because you're on the show. You know, we definitely big fans of you. Like I said off there, we can relate to you. We know you're a big Yankee fan. We're Mets fans over here, but like my man Q eloquently say all the time, we loyal to the soil. I know that's sacrilegious in certain ciphers of Mets and Yankees fans.
Rep your side. Always rep your side.
You know what I'm saying? But I gotta admit, when the Mets is out, I'm rooting for. I can't root against New York. That's just in me. You know what I'm saying? But let's get right into it, man. Listen, I want to start with the Yanks, man. We heard Brian Cashman in the GM meetings the other day. I don't want to get too deep into the woods on his verbiage. You know, him saying certain things like, you know, everyone be cool. The Yankees just played their worst game at the worst possible time. A lot of people, you know, took umbrage with that. Let's put that to the side for a second. We all know what happened with the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series. We saw the problems, the fundamental problems that the Yankees were having, you know, hitting a situation, situational hitting, lack of base running. I mean, lack of fundamentals, bad base running, and so forth. I want to throw this out to you, man. You know, you being the big Yankee fan that you are, if you're Cashman, we all know who the big fish is out. We all know who everyone's looking to get this year, who's trying to hook the big fish. We all know who that big fish is. But if you're Brian Cashman, give me your top 3 or 4 moves that's imperative to start this free agent season.
Well, first off, Brian Cashman is the best when it comes to the BS. He will BS you forever. He will never admit fault. He will never throw anybody under the bus. He will never take ownership of literally the most embarrassing inning in World Series history, a complete flop and fail. Took y'all 15 years to get there and do that. He will act like Aaron Boone didn't make not one managerial mistake. He is the best. I swear, nobody BS better than Cashman with the cameras on and all them reporters around him. Nice. But he knows in his heart of hearts, they failed. The fan base is hurting right now, and he felt that one for sure. And they got to make moves. I've been saying this. The fan base is healing every day that is further away from the collapse in the World Series, and part of the healing process is bringing back Juan Soto. You don't give up Michael King, Kyle Higashioka, Drew Thorpe, Randy Vasquez, and Johnny Brito for the guy for 1 year and not try and bring him back. Now, the whole thing is that 1 year is supposed to give you a leg up. That 1 year is supposed to give you what you thought was like, you know, somewhat not of a discount, but some of a sway in the sweepstakes for Soto, right? Like, hey, we showed him around. He got a taste of what it's like. Like, now he's going to go talk to, let's say, 6 or 7 other teams that he has not been in their building, has not been in their culture, has not been in their environment. It starts with Juan Soto. Plan A is Juan Soto. Plan A1 is Juan Soto. And the way that's playing out, we just got news today that Steve Cohen is going to go to California to meet with Scott Boras and Juan Soto. I made jokes. I was like, what are they doing? A sleepover at Scott Boras' crib? Like, why they got to go to Cali to talk?
The Aaron Rodgers shit. Woody Johnson, Aaron Rodgers shit. Yeah.
Very similar to like the whole Malibu pulling up on Rodgers thing. Yeah. That worked. Now, this may work, may not work. You're dealing with somebody in Steve Cohen who's got stupid money. Like, he could pull out all the stops. And I'm sure they have a presentation and a lot of stuff that they're going to hit Juan Soto with and present Juan Soto with to wow him. But the way that this is going to shake out, the Yankees should be the last one at the table, right? They should be the one where after you go talk to Steve Cohen or the Dodgers while you're out there or whoever else, they said the Rays are going to actually bid on Juan Soto. Like, they should come back to the Yankees and say, hey, here's what we've got. This is the offer we're going to take. Are you willing to match this? And the Yankees have the opportunity to match it or say no. And I think Hal Steinbrenner will be the deciding factor. Brian Cashman's probably going to see them numbers. He's going to be like, he's going to be like, I can't do it. And then he's going to go back to Hal, and Hal is the one that makes the decisions financially because essentially, you know, it's his money.
It's his money.
And I think Hal will be the one to say, nah, we need this guy. But if they don't get Juan Soto, they've got a ton of holes. They got to get a first baseman. They got to get somebody else in that infield, whether you're getting a third baseman or second baseman. Jazz playing at third, I mean, it was cool that he was able to, like, you know, move there and take it on. But, like, I think he's better suited at second base. They're moving on from Glaber. So you need two corner infielders, and then you definitely need some type of help in your bullpen, which it's already been documented that they're reaching out to free agents, free agent relievers, and then maybe you need another starter as well. And it's also been documented they're talking to Max Fried and Blake Snell and Corbin Burns, because you can't tell me that Carlos Rodon is really going to be your number two after what we saw this year.
I agree.
Juan Soto gives off a little bit. Hey, Keith, thank you again. You know what I'm saying, for coming through and kicking it with us. Juan Soto gives us a little bit of a like a mercenary vibe. You know, kind of like it's really just, you know, some of the things he said after that loss just didn't really resonate very well. And, you know, I'm a Mets fan, but I watched it and it kind of felt a little awkward, you know, that he was available for all 30 teams and things of that nature. You know, that statement doesn't really ring right to a New Yorker, because at the end of the day, you know, we're expecting the loyalty. Like, New Yorkers are loyal to the soul, like, realistically. And, you know, the fact that we got him for the year and we hope to, you know, have a leg up, like you said, it just didn't feel like he had the same feeling about us that, you know, that we all kind of had about him. Now, his talent, of course, is monumental. We don't want to lose that. We want to keep that in the building. But at what point do, you know, we kind of say, you know, is this guy really the, you know, the Yankee that we want?
I mean, it's a couple things, right? So I was at Game 5. And I went to like 40, 50 games this year. I got to meet Juan Soto, you know, calling the game, pretending to be Susan Waldman. I got to see him in pinstripes with the backwards Yankee fitted on a day that he hit 2 home runs. This is a guy that belongs in the Bronx. De lo mio personal. Like, this guy is a Dominicano. And, like, you know, Gleyber Torres showed him around. I don't know if he went to Dykeman. I don't know where he went, but I'm sure, you know, he was at Jordan MVP Barber. He found the places to eat, the places to hang out on the low. Like, you know, Nestor Cortez knows where to go. Chapman, when he used to be around here, used to know where to go. I'm sure they brought Juan Soto there. I watched that stadium light up for him when he would cross over the white line, skip over the white line. I said the judges' chambers turned into Juan Soto land. He owns that area. And when that roll call hit, Juan Soto, that's the loudest one. And he turns around, he shows love, does his signature thing. When the Dodgers won and ran on the field, Aaron Judge wasn't sitting in the dugout. Garrett Cole wasn't sitting in the dugout. Giancarlo Stanton wasn't sitting in the dugout. Juan Soto sat there with his damn helmet on and watched them celebrate. Now, I think part of that is because he was taking it all in. Like, this might be my last game here for real. But I think also he's such a competitor. He wanted to win his second World Series. He watched that to motivate himself, right? Store that in your memory bank. Like, yeah, they won, I lost, I got to come back and get them. But then a switch happened. As soon as he got in front of them cameras, as soon as SNY and Fox News and NBC and ESPN and all, and they started asking him questions about, Juan, where are you going? You know, they asked him about the Mets. He said, I don't know who's going to be coming after me, but I'm available for all 30 teams. It was very rehearsed. And you could tell how coached he is. Right. That Scott Boras has been preparing this guy since he was a teenager. Yeah. He just turned 26. Scott Boras has been telling him, hey, we're not loyal to anybody but the dollar bill. Yep. And the way that you maximize your opportunity to get the most dollar bills is to make it seem like you're not loyal to the New York Yankees. Now, I spoke on the radio and I probably overspoke. I try not to let off as much as I know, but I'm friends with the Volpe family. And Michael Volpe during the game invited me to come over to the friends and family section in Yankee Stadium. I saw Juan Soto's pops. I saw his mom. I saw their family members partying and celebrating and having a great time. And there's a video that went out of Juan Soto dancing with the Yankee dads, Glaber's dad, Judge's dad, Volpe's dad. And I know that the Yankees have been a first-class organization as far as their treatment of Juan Soto and his family. But, man, all that goes out of the window right now. Right now, he's a free agent. And if Steve Cohen comes to play with a dollar amount that is too ridiculous for Hal Steinbrenner or Brian Cashman, and I think they got to literally blow the Yankees out of the water. I think, Juan Soto is smart. He's a baseball fan. He knows about his legacy. For him to go from the Yankees to the other side, he knows he'll immediately be hated by a fan base that showed him love. But the dollar amount is everything. Like Saquon, I listened to a podcast on Saquon. Yeah. And Saquon said, all I had to deal with was the hate.
Yeah. Yeah. He probably didn't even have to move.
Nah, I mean, Saquon went to high school in PA.
Yeah.
Went to Penn State.
Yeah.
His wife is from out there. They just technically went back home and kept their house in Jersey.
Yep.
All he had to do was, he said once he got over the fact that he had to just deal with the internet hate, it's about the money. It's about the money. So, like, don't get me twisted. I think that, like, there is something that the Yankees can sell with the Derek Jeters of the world, with the Aaron Judges of the world, with being a Yankee, going to Monument Park, being a forever Yankee, and the brand that the Yankees have built behind the pinstripes. But I think Juan Soto and Scott Boras know it's about money, and the richest owner in the sport is Steve Cohen. And if David Stearns doesn't deter him and say, hey, we can't go any higher than this AAV, we can't do any more years than this, Steve Cohen is going to be the highest bidder because he's the richest owner in the sport. Yeah. And I think Hal Steinbrenner and the Yankees, they know how important it is to win, but they will not overextend. They will not, they can't. Like, they don't, you can't play with a guy that's worth $15 billion, whatever it is.
Let me ask you this, because you mentioned Steve Cohen and then you mentioned Hal and the Yankees brass. Right. Obviously, Soto's looking for the biggest contract ever. The structure on how that deal works. Do you have any inside information? Because we've heard Hal say in the past that he's not really going to play around with a payroll that's $300 million or better. You know what I'm saying? So can they defer him? I also heard you on the radio say yesterday, Scott Boras is older now. He's not trying to do any deferred type of stuff.
He's 72.
Right. How does that down the field? Structure that deal and the dollars work if Hal and them aren't willing to go north of $300 million?
So what I always try to remind people is that quote came from Hal Steinbrenner at the Sportico convention when he was in a room full of his peers.
Right.
So the same way you say some things in negotiations and you have tactics, that was basically Hal saying, I don't need to have a $300 million payroll, because with the luxury tax, that money goes to you bums in Tampa or you bums in Sacramento that took the Oakland A's to, you know what I'm saying? Or like, you smaller market teams like the Guardians who will face, like, I don't have to go over the luxury tax because that money is going to go into your pocket. He was basically playing a game with the other owners. And what I'll say is the Yankees have Rizzo's money coming off the books, Glaber's money coming off the books, Clay Holmes' money coming off the books, Verdugo's money coming off the books. There's $6 million that they paid Josh Donaldson this year. I think they could still figure out a way to, finesse where, like, even if Juan Soto is a $50 million a year player, that's just Verdugo, Glaber, and Rizzo's contract right there. So they have the flexibility to do it. Hal has shown if there's somebody he wants, he will go get them. The last two big contracts, Aaron Judge, Garrett Cole. I went to sleep thinking Garrett Cole was going to be an Anaheim Angel. I woke up, he was a Yankee.
Yeah.
They said Arson Judge appears headed to the San Francisco Giants. Hal is going to the Vatican, sailing the Amalfi Coast on his yacht in Italy. Somehow he gets on a FaceTime call with Aaron Judge and says, Aaron, what's the number? What's it going to take? Aaron's like, can you give me an extra year at $40 million a year? I was like, yeah, done. And we'll make you the captain. So, like, what I try to tell folks too, and I'm yelling it on the radio, is like Hal Steinbrenner has money too. And like, don't trip. Like, they can't play with a billionaire that could actually go to a ridiculous level of like, oh, we'll do $700 million.
Right.
But with this trip to the World Series, the Yankees haven't played this late in the season since 2015. They made millions of more dollars off of them tickets, off that merch, off the TV, off of all that, where that money is sitting somewhere right now. And they never have to show you their books. They can afford Juan Soto. If they actually did want to go toe-to-toe with Steve Cohen, they could do it. And the last thing I'll say is This is the last of those big money contracts. We're not going to see another player hit free agency at age 26 like this.
Yeah.
This is the last. Scott Boras knows, and that's what I was talking about. Ohtani, people like, first off, Ohtani, nobody ever did what Ohtani did. Ohtani's camp came up with the deferred money because they wanted Yamamoto signed.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Nobody else is doing that. Ohtani's doing that because in 10 years, when he goes back to Japan, they still gonna be hitting him with a milli. He's gonna be cashing out. He's gonna be cashing it out in Japan. And you know what? The Dodgers, they're already making that money off of the Japanese fan base, whatever. Juan Soto does not have the global reach that Shohei has. He also doesn't play two positions. The AAV for Shohei is 46 and some change, 46 million a year and some change. That's where I want to see. Juan Soto as a right fielder, I'm talking about defensively, he leaves much to be desired. You got to see it on full display in the World Series. Like, hey, you couldn't get to that ball. That ball got by you. That ball was over your head. So, like, are you really about to pay a right fielder, because that's what you got to categorize him as, are you really about to pay him $50 million a year? Now, he's Ted Williams at the plate. He's a generational talent as a hitter. But, like, Judge got $40 million as a right fielder. That's the highest paid right fielder in baseball. 2 years later, you're gonna jump $10 million a year in the AAV, the average annual value. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. Like, there are still rules and parameters here.
Yeah. So and just to, you know, before we switch the topic and talk about the Yankees, you know, like obviously we all seen the World Series. You had multiple games. We seen what happened, you know, in the games. We know the Dodgers are a wild super team now, you know, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come. Now, if the Yankees win game 1 and game 5, do you think they have a better shot at actually winning the series? Or do you think the Dodgers are still going to just win?
Man, hell yeah. I'll never get over game 1. Yo, I had the Billies party in the ALCS. We did the same thing for the World Series. So I was front row. You know, we're down to the last out. I was worried about them pitching Nestor. Man, I was worried as soon as they pulled Garrett Cole. Shit, I was worried as soon as Gleyber Torres didn't catch that ball.
Oh, God.
Momentum in baseball is real. I talk about it all the time on the fan.
Absolutely.
Momentum in baseball is so real. Football is slightly different. Like, actually, Giants fans felt that. Like, you score a touchdown, and the fans say, yeah, hell yeah, Daniel Jones, run his ass over. And then you go for 2, and then it's like, damn, suck all the air out of the building. In baseball, if you have a lead and you blow a lead, or you take a pitcher out, or you make an error, man, that can hurt you. And then that game 1 loss, losing in that fashion behind Nestor Cortez, who hadn't pitched since September 18th, it bled into game 2. And it definitely altered the whole series, but the series was still close. And like, not for nothing, you as Mets fans know, like, Freddie Freeman was not the same Freddie Freeman in the CS as he was in the World Series. Absolutely, he had like not. 5 days off to rest. I don't know what they did to that ankle, but he turned right back into MVP Freddie. And the Yankees are going to regret those decisions, right? They bring Nestor Cortez in. He gets Ohtani out. Ohtani pops out. Verdugo catches that ball, goes into the stands. You go out of play, the runners advance. That first base comes open and they get cute. They say, let's walk Mookie Betts. You gonna walk Mookie to get to Freddie just because he's a lefty? They're both killers.
Sense, right?
They're both stone cold killers. Nestor is a starter. He's faced hella righties. Like, it's not the analytics don't apply the same. So yeah, man. As a Yankee fan, as a baseball fan, there are some regrettable decisions. And yes, in a series like that, they say that in any series, in NBA too, right? The series don't start until the home team loses. Yeah. If the Yankees, they had 2 different leads in that game. If the Yankees take game 1, your thoughts become things. It sets into people's mind like, yo, I don't know, man. Like, the Yankees might be here to play. Stanton homered in that game. And I don't know, man. It could have changed the course of the World Series for sure.
Absolutely. I want to swing back to the ownership and the brass level, because this is also a battle of billionaires. It's Steve Cohen and the Steinbrenners. No one wants to be embarrassed. No one wants to get the back pages stolen from them. Steve Cohen, he brought in Verlander, brought in Scherzer. Those moves didn't work out. He thought this was a evaluation year, so to speak, in Mets land. It turned out to be a little something more, a surprise, so to speak. Do you think Cohen is gonna go all the way? I mean, like the whole bag, just to be able to, a pissing contest with Hal Steinbrenner, because he hasn't really made a big money move since he's been the Mets owner, other than Verlander and Scherzer.
He's tried. He's tried. I think he's prepared to. Like, let's go back, right? So, like, they didn't pay DeGrom, but that was the choice.
Yeah.
And they actually, made the right decision, because obviously DeGrom,
Absolutely.
what did he do this year? Like, he was hurt. Like, smart move, not give him all that bread.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't available. But they've shown the ability to pivot, right? That's why they pivoted to Scherzer, Verlander, and paid Verlander that money. And then, I mean, even bringing in 2 years ago, like Marte, Canna, Eduardo Escobar, paying Edwin Diaz, like, they're showing you, like, yo, we got the bread to put on the team. Last year, it was Yamamoto, and Yankee fans and Mets fans were thinking that it was a two-man race between Steve Cohen and Hal Steinbrenner for Yamamoto. Really, Yamamoto was playing everybody to get that price up,
right?
And then come to the Dodgers, where Shohei is like, this is my World Baseball Classic teammate from my homeland, like, I'll take less money deferred so that we can put him on the team. This is different, though. This is a player that has been proven in Major League Baseball, right? Yamamoto never threw a pitch in Major League Baseball. This is a young talent, like I said, that is not going to come around again. And this is a moment that could shift the balance of power in this city, as far as the baseball teams go. Yeah. And that has kind of been Steve Cohen's mission, right? Yeah. I know the fans have built him up as the new George Steinbrenner. I know the fans have spent his money for him.
Yeah.
So he will not let down the fans and let them know that, like, he was outbid. I don't expect him to be outbid. What I expect is Hal Steinbrenner to match or come in just underneath. But, like, when I look at Hal, I say this. I'm like, you just lost the World Series. You can't lose one of your best players, right? Like, those little kids are picking up that orange and blue hat, right? Or that blue hat with the orange interlocking NY because of the, oh my God, and the grimace.
That's right.
Like, these kids had a hell of a time with the Mets. You add Juan Soto to that, where they can Juan Soto blue, like, that shifts the balance of power for the future. You have a whole nother generation of Mets fans that'll be rocking with Juan Soto. Damn, Casino was built.
Yeah.
Hal Steinbrenner has to know he can't let that happen.
Yeah.
But Steve Cohen also knows, like, oh, I could light $100 on fire every minute and it wouldn't change my day. Y'all have more of a budget. I don't have a budget. So I'm ready to have this pissing contest with y'all. I'm ready to have this, measuring contest with y'all. Let's see who wins. Like, let's see who prevails. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We're down to the last few weeks here. In about a month, we'll know. Winter meetings are December 8th through the 11th. And he's the first chip that has to fall. He's the first domino that has to fall. He's a big fish. And I think that by then, like, they're meeting in California next week.
Yeah.
So by then, they're going to know who they're going with, and we'll probably get some numbers. And Boris always uses, like, John Heyman and some of these other guys to leak information. Like, we'll know. We'll have an idea.
With that being said, speaking of, like, of Cohen, right? With that being said, does he make a real substantial play to keep Pete Alonso in the building? Because, like, even though he's not the best player on the team, there's something to be said about the connection to the team and him, like, really just being there for the whole growth of that team and homegrown, right? Do you really make, I mean, I don't know what financially he would be worth at this point. I mean, what's he, 30 years old? Is he 30?
He's 30. I think he might be going on 31.
I think he's about to be 31, yeah.
Right? How much?
And I don't think he's getting anything more than, like, a 7-year contract. He's 29. He'll be 30 in December.
I think he wants a 7-year. I'm not sure.
I don't know if he's gonna get it.
Yeah, he blew the bag this year. He pulled it, and it didn't work. Yeah.
He had a down year, right? He played the Boris card. Oh, now I'm gonna go sign with baseball's Bond villain, MLB's most feared agent.
Yeah.
And then he had a down year number wise. But I'm happy for Pete because he had his moments in the postseason where it matters the most. Who does that matter most to? The Mets.
Yeah.
Who does that matter most to?
Yeah.
Steve Cohen and David Stearns. So, like, I was saying during the season, this has played out perfectly for y'all because that number is going to come down in the market where, like, Steve Cohen could afford it anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, who is really gonna? There is no pissing contest for Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
So they're gonna say, Pete, yeah, go ahead, test the market, see what you got out there. And there's gonna be some numbers, and Steve Cohen can beat all of those numbers, whether he's tacking on a year or a couple million per year. And Pete has been so vocal about wanting to be a Met. I've been blessed to go to a bunch of All-Star games, and every All-Star game I've been to, except for the one in 2014, Pete has been there. And a lot of times he's the lone Met there.
Yeah.
Ambassador for the Mets, telling these other stars come play for the Mets and how much he enjoys playing for the Mets and being in New York City. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. I think he just wants to be paid. Like you guys were saying, he's homegrown.
Yeah.
Man, the joke I've made on air is that he's watched everybody come into his clubhouse and hit the mega millions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Max Scherzer, come on down, 43 million. Verlander, come on down. Like, well, damn, Thor coming in, cha-ching.
Yeah.
Coming in, cha-ching. Like, yo, all these, even Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo got paid.
Yeah, everybody got the bag.
I'm the polar bear. I'm the guy. I've been here through every iteration of this.
Right.
Where's my money? It's coming. And here's the other kicker about it. Once he gets taken care of, once he gets paid, on top of having the playoff run that he just had, don't be surprised when he hits 45 home runs this year, drives in a bunch of more RBI, and he's a better player after he gets paid, and it's all done.
Got us off his
for
plate.
The Mets, not for the Astros, not for the Cubs, like for the Mets. He's not going anywhere, and it's going to be more than affordable for Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen can afford to pay him and Juan Soto for real.
Absolutely. We mentioned Scott Boras. He's like the common denominator in a lot of these negotiations, especially in this offseason and last offseason, represents a lot of the big fish. He's this like gangster boardroom shark. He always gets his deal done. He made A-Rod a very rich man. Shit, A-Rod should give him 5% of the Timberwolves. He got A-Rod so much money. You know what I'm saying, back then. The thing with Pete, the gamble he had Pete take didn't work out as well. Garrett Cole, Yankees kind of called his bluff on that negotiation. We'll see how it works out with Soto, but you used to hear Scott Boras used to run into the GM's office, smash a binder on the table and go, here's a book of analytics. This is why you need to sign my client. You know what I'm saying? Now they look at him kind of and go, bro, everybody uses analytics. You know what I'm saying? So that edge, he might have lost that edge. You've seen him last year with Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, a couple of guys going into spring training without big contracts. Do you think Cody Bellinger, stuff, people like that, do you think Scott Boras is losing his edge a little bit, so to speak?
I just think times have changed. I think there's been enough of these big Albert Pujols, Josh Hamilton, Alex Rodriguez type contracts, even Jacoby Ellsbury, where baseball has seen that that's not the way. At the end of those contracts, they're a waste of money and they end up tying you up where you can do other things. I've been using the word collusion, but collusion is very harsh and too dramatic. But the league has kind of colluded against Scott Boras to basically say, no, Scott, we're not signing these guys for these 9-year deals. That's why they went to Scott Boras, because they've seen him get these huge deals for guys like Garrett Cole. Analytics has changed the game. Just sports medicine and science have changed the game. They can look at a player like Pete Alonso. They can check out his body type. They can profile him and project how long he's going to play, when he's going to break down, when his bat speed's going to slow down. And you can't sell me on him for 7-8 years anymore. It's not a smart investment. So what Boras has had to do, like I always talk about with the Boras 5, this was an embarrassing offseason for him. Having Matt Chapman, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, JD Martinez, and Cody Bellinger not get those long-term deals and instead taking short-term deals with higher AAV and opt-outs. Yeah. And it took forever to get there. That hurts your clients. They're not in spring training. Then they're injured. Like Jordan Montgomery, the owner of the Diamondbacks, said it was his fault for signing him. That was the worst mistake that he made. Blake Snell was pissed off. Blake Snell didn't have the year that he wanted to have. JD Martinez, he was slow to join the Mets. That's not good business. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Also, this is the end of the road.
Snell was coming off a Cy Young, I believe, wasn't he? I think, of course. Yeah.
So, he was thinking, I'm about to cash out. The Yankees had 6 years, allegedly, 6 years, $150 million on the table for Snell. And they passed on it thinking that they could get him more years. And then they had to take 2 years with an opt-out. He's a free agent again after, pitching half the season for the Giants. So, yes, I think that the league, the GMs, have kind of a wink-wink secret packed. Like, nah, none of us are doing it, bro. None of y'all do a 9-year, 8-year deal. None of that anymore.
You think that's coming from them watching like leagues like the NBA, where you're seeing those shorter mercenary deals, and people are moving around a lot more within the league,
like the 1-year contracts and stuff.
Yeah, it's a different. Obviously, you guys know, like, different collective bargaining agreement, and the baseball being a non-salary cap league. But and it's just like, like, even look at Giancarlo Stanton's contract.
Yeah.
The people at the Marlins that put that contract together, they made that contract, then they got out of baseball. They made a huge mistake. That contract is ridiculous. The Yankees took it on, but they took it on with the caveat that, like, after 2025, that contract is almost in half. They're going to pay him $32 million this year. Then that shrinks to $19 million. And $19 million in 2026, that's like $19 million in 2026. There's way lesser players that are going to make that, and that's not really going to stop you from doing anything.
How long do you wait on Soto? Because while you're trying to land this big fish, there's other moves being made out there. You know what I'm saying? You don't want the market to drive, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because we named all these free agents out there. What's the cutoff, you think, in your opinion, for the Yankees to go, listen, you have to this day, or we got to move on?
I honestly think it's going to happen at the winter meetings, but it could be, I would say, December 15th, a couple days after the winter meetings.
Right.
I say that because if I am Anthony Santander from the Baltimore Orioles and I'm a right fielder and I had the best year of my career, and Juan Soto hit 40 homers, I hit 40 homers too, I'm not signing a damn thing till I see what Juan Soto gets.
Right.
Yeah.
If Juan Soto's able to get $55 million a year, I'm gonna be like, hold on, I'm worth 45.
Yeah.
Like, right? I'm not that much worse than him.
Right.
Like, so, like, there is a ripple effect here. There is a domino effect here. There's a market effect here where, like, the rest of these guys will hold out unless they have a team and a suitor. Like, Santander might want to stay with the Baltimore Orioles, and they got new ownership where they could say, hey, to hell with what Soto and them are doing. Here's the offer on the table. You want to be here, right? Boom. And he might punch it. But his agent or agency would be smart to look at what all of them, everybody would be smart to wait on Soto, because once he sets that ridiculous record for AAV or years, whatever, then everybody can play off that. Everybody else can set their contract demands off that.
Absolutely. Let's transition to the Mets real quick. We talked about, obviously Steve Cohen, trying to outbid the Steinbrenners, but same question I asked you about if you were Cashman. If you're Stearns, right? You had everyone thought it was a rebuilding year. You start off really bad. You wind up making this miraculous comeback, magic, OMG, like you said, the whole thing. If you don't land Soto, what's the play for the Mets? You know what I'm saying? Do you go pitching? Do you go, Burns? Do you go Snell? Like, what? I know you need some help in the bullpen. You need a big bat, in my opinion. What's the play for the Mets?
Yeah, I would start with the rotation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring back Minaya. I'm trying to bring back Severino, but not have them be my front end guys. I'm trying to make a play for Corbin Burns, maybe take Max Fried away from the Braves.
Yeah.
I had a whole thing. I'm trying to go back to my notes the other night with, like, the free agent. Maybe I'm making a play for Blake Snell, because ultimately what happened when you got to the end of the road in the CS, it was pitching.
Yeah.
And starting pitching can protect your bullpen. Guys that you were relying on in your bullpen, like Jose Buto, by the end of the season, they were not the same.
Yeah.
If you have the starting pitching and the ace that can go 6-7 innings in October, you're going to be good. They got hitters, and they've got young talent coming up. I mean, I don't know how many guys they got to plug in that way. I think you go for starting pitching and bullpen, and you tighten that area up. The bullpen was makeshift the whole year. Obviously, I
think they declined his option, right? I think
Garrett, Maton, Stanek, Edwin Diaz was up and down, but still Edwin Diaz was solid, for what you pay him for and to be the closer. But what was I about to say? I think they go starting pitching. I think they go, with some stronger relievers, and you're gonna have hitters. You got hitters already in your lineup. I think you pivot there, and maybe you will sign like a Santander or whatever. But I think it's starting pitching and it's relief pitching, and then you'll fill in the blanks with a few different guys.
Yeah, but we're gonna need it, because we're gonna have to deal with Dodgers for years to come.
Everybody.
I think not going anywhere.
I think you got some really good pieces with the emergence of Vientos. I was down on Vientos last year. I thought, with Bader coming up and Alvarez, I thought he was the weakest out of all of them. I seen him struggle a little bit about first base before they put him at third, but he stepped up big. Vientos is a major piece with the Mets. Alvarez struggled second half of the season in the playoffs a little bit, but he calls a really good game behind the plate. I'm high on him. I think he'll bounce back. Lindor with a career year. But then you have, certain holes you have to fill, like in particular, second base. You hear about Jeff McNeil. That, like, he's one of the core guys along with Nimmo, Alonso. But you hear that they might move off of him. You hear Jet Williams, Acuna, a couple other different names. If you're the Mets, do you keep him in there for veteran leadership? He is coming off 2 years, a batting title from 2022, 2 years ago. So we know he can hit, but he's getting old. He's banged up a little bit. You move off of Jeff McNeil if you're Stearns?
I think they'll probably start the year with him. He's already under contract. Yeah. He's a homegrown Met. He did have some happy Jeff moments. Yeah. His season just got derailed at the end with the injury, and he came back late and wasn't really that effective. I think you start there. In the outfield, I'll be interested to see what they do. Are they really going to roll with Tyrone Taylor as the center fielder? Yeah. Brandon Nimmo, they said is going to stay in left field. Yeah. You get Soto, and that changes a lot of what you could do. But also Pete, I expect to come back at first base. Vientos just got to keep working with Lindor on his fielding and actually be the third baseman. Yeah. They already said that they're going to run it back with Luis Torrens, and you think the Yankees had Luis Torrens right there. Gave him up for nothing, and him and Alvarez running it back. I think that it again, it's starting pitching, it is relief pitching. Maybe they go after like a Hassan Kim, but I don't think so. I'm trying to think of any other name that potential. Like I don't think Bregman is leaving Houston.
Crochet, maybe.
I did hear some rumblings about Garrett Crochet, which I thought they were going to trade for him at the deadline last year. Yeah. Maybe you go get him. But that's another thing
gas too. Last year, he was throwing gas. Yeah.
There's two times to improve your team. You can improve your team in the winter, and you can play the wait and see game at the trade deadline. Yeah. And you guys got to just remember now, you're dealing with David Stearns. He's smart. He's crafty, and he's got a vision. He's got foresight. So like, they might not go for everything in the beginning of the season. Yeah. They're gonna see what this team looks like. And something I've been saying, I think everybody's been saying, there is no more LOL Mets. Yeah, there is no more lowly Mets. No. There is no more, they're bums, they're trash. Yeah. The level of baseball that they played and the run that they went on, now they will have a target on their back from opening day. Mm-hmm. And they can't start off slow. They can't start off slow and have any type of grimace or OMG or something like lightning might not strike twice. They got to come out of the gate and play good baseball. And I think they can. And I think they'll make the moves to be shored up in the roster. But it's a lot different when you're not the hunter and you're the hunted. And I think they're going to be hunted now. You think the Phillies in their division aren't going to be pissed off about how they went out and every time they see them try and get after them? You think the Braves aren't going to be pissed off about how that double and like in your own division, you're going to be hunted and it's not going to be sweet. And like, they just got to have that like head about them. Like, yo, all that LOL Mets is over. Like nobody's feeling sorry for us. Like we made it to the CS. And we're going to be picked to be a World Series contender. Yeah. So,
I agree. I think you got to go after one of these big fish free agents. I think Quintana's they might let him walk. We don't know about Severino because he's been hurt a lot.
I like Quintana too, man.
They offered him that. Yeah, they offered him that qualifying offer. I don't know. I think they want to give him 1 year. I think he's looking for 3 years. I think you got to bring back Manai. He was on a proven year. He looked really good. But I think you got to. This is theory now. I've been hearing around lately that you don't need the big starting bona fide aces anymore, that you can get away with quantity over quality because these guys don't go really past 5 and 6 innings anymore. I'm old school. I don't agree. I like the bona fide ace on there. So I think you need it because we don't know. I still don't know really what Senga is, in my opinion. We don't know how that ghost forkball, whatever that shit is, looks in the CS next year. Whatever they make it to. So I definitely think you got to go for a big time starter and land Soto, and then just work with your.
I'll say this: like, just because the Dodgers were able to do a bullpen game and go win the World Series, not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do that. And like, I'm old school in the regard too. Like I want a starting pitcher that I can rely on to go deep in the game because it saves the bullpen. Right. You will have problems in a 3-game series. You will have problems in a 5-game series. Right. You will have problems in a 7-game series if you don't have starters that can give you length. Like it taxes the bullpen. It always catches up to you. It caught up to the Yankees where they got to throw Tommy Kahnle and like Luke Weaver got overused. Yeah. And like I don't know how many times they wanted to tell us Clay Holmes was a closer. Yeah. We knew he's not a closer. It catches up to you. There are no shortcuts. So the more starting pitchers that you have that can give you quality starts, the better off you will be in your bullpen.
Facts. Can we close out the Mets? Y'all good or y'all want to? Y'all any more questions on the Mets?
No. I'd like to drag Keith into a conversation about the New York Knicks for a minute.
That's what I want to do, and that's exactly where I was going. And not only do I want to drag, not only do I want to drag him into this next conversation, I want him to talk me off this ledge that I'm standing on right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm looking for.
I'm 40. I want my late 40s. Off of it. I bet Knicks fans since Patrick Ewing and Mark Jackson were rookies, and I'm worried. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm worried. Listen, I get it. Still early. That's what I'm hearing. It's still early. But it's early until it's not early. You know what I'm saying? They still need to build the chemistry. I get it. No Dante, no Precious, no Julius. Mitch is hurt. Isaiah's gone. You know what I'm saying? Cad, DeJelen. Listen, I hear all that, but they lose back-to-back games to Houston and Atlanta. 2 games. I like Houston. Houston is kind of. I think Houston's going to be scary with Ime Udoka and Jalen Green and Sengun and all these guys. I think they're going to be good. Atlanta, that rookie kid was cooking us last night. Trey cooking hella shit. I don't know if you heard what he said after the game.
22 points in the first half. Wow.
Trey's being a villain. But you're supposed to beat the bad teams, right? And the teams they put in front of you. Give me your assessment on the 2024-2025 Knicks thus far.
Man, what I'll say, and I'm a Nets fan, so naturally I've hated on the Knicks. But last year I couldn't hate on them because it was such a good story. It was an underdog story. It was a bunch of guys that were not lottery picks, a bunch of guys that not everybody wanted, and they played like dogs. Like they will scrap and get to every ball, throw up a prayer shot, get every rebound, make the pass here. Like they were fun to watch.
Yeah, fine.
And what I think Knicks fans are struggling with right now is in January of last year, even a little bit of February before Julius got hurt, I'm watching them. They beat everybody. Like that's when the season really starts to get going. And they were better than it didn't matter. Yeah. They beat everybody. Where I was joking, but I'm like, this is an NBA Finals team.
That's facts.
I know it's a lot to be seen, but they figured it out with the trade, getting OG.
Yeah.
Randall gets hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're not going anywhere without Randall because they need his presence, his defense, his scoring, and just his mentality. Like you need an enforcer type out there.
Facts.
But then they still rallied and figured it out. Josh Hart played a whole damn game. DiVincenzo shooting the lights out. Brunson go get 40. iHeart was just like
on fire.
Out of nowhere. Like no one had any idea in the beginning of last season that he was like that. So what Knicks fans are struggling with right now is they'll never get to see what that could have been. I thought y'all was running it back. Why not run it back? What?
Right.
And you know why you couldn't run it back? Because iHeart didn't stay.
That's the one.
Yeah, which
the game.
Sign him,
He went and got the most money he could get for a number 1 seed. OKC is the number 1 seed. Yeah. Understood. But then Mitchell Robinson being hurt, you had to make a move. You didn't have a center. You didn't have a big. You didn't have a 5. And everybody said they had been working and checking on the Karl Anthony Towns trade since last year.
Yeah.
So they punched that. But they had also made the Mikal Bridges trade, where I've been saying y'all needed Mikal Bridges in the playoffs last year. Like you could have used a 3-and-D wing like that in the playoffs last year.
Oh yeah.
Right now they're all trying to gel. It's a completely new team. It's a completely new energy, a completely new vibe. Like Mikal Bridges is being coached for the first time by Tibbs. Yeah. Like he's back now playing with Brunson and Hart, and DiVincenzo is not there. And Cat can get busy. But he's got to figure out he's not playing with Ant-Man and Gobert and them anymore. Like they're all trying to figure it out.
Right.
And what I feel like is they don't know who should take the last shots. They don't know who, they're figuring out their roles. And it's early on in the NBA season where if you look at the standings right now, there's a lot of surprises. Like y'all got the Bucks tomorrow night. Got to beat the Bucks.
Cavs are in first.
Right. And it's like, it's just too early to say. So what I'll say is I'll talk you off the ledge with the way a lot of the Knicks fans are talking about. They're like, look at the last couple of years. They started off with a similar record.
Yeah.
And I got to look again, but I was looking at the odds for, Vegas. They still have good odds on the Knicks to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So what does Vegas know? Vegas knows it's going to come together at some point.
Yeah.
And the word that I've been using and they use the most in basketball is chemistry. Yes. Right. So, when I took chemistry, you're pouring a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You're waiting for a reaction. Yeah. They had a chemistry project last year that they blew up. Now they have some ingredients, some elements here, and this is a new chemistry project that you got to give it 30 minutes to cook. Yeah. You got to give it, 30 minutes is 3 months in the NBA to cook and see what it turns into. It's not going to happen overnight, but you have the talent, right? You have Brunson, you have Cat, you have Bridges. Like just those three alone should be able to get you there. But also they got to get a bench. They got to get a bench together.
Yes.
The bench has been a huge problem. You can't have a bench getting outscored 30-3 against the Rockets. And then I know Tyler Kolek and Deuce McBride and they got to have a better bench. Yeah. But Precious Achiuwa will come back. Mitchell Robinson will come back. They just signed a couple guys and you'll have the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And one of our always concerns is Tibbs' mentality, right? It's always Tibbs going to play our guys to the ground. He doesn't ever play any rookies. He doesn't play the guys that, as a Knicks fan, we want to see play and see their potential in the future, upcoming months, however it may be. Now, there was an article that came out, and the Knicks don't have not one of their players leading the league in minutes played per second, which is astronomical, right? Which is usually because, Randall, and as hurt Randall was last year, he was still there in the top 5, and Brunson, obviously, he had to play a load of minutes. Now, do you foresee Tibbs going away from his mentality and start testing his rotations out more frequently? Because to be honest, in these games, with the injuries now, he has no choice but to do it. Now, do you see him actually start doing that and using that mentality and pushing forward to see? Because you're not going to win nothing without a bench, right? Do you think he makes that change eventually to actually start seeing Kolek and guys like Huckporty play more minutes?
I think that if there ever was a year for him to change, it's this year because of how last year ended. Everybody was hurt. Mm-hmm. We'll never actually know. If they were healthy, they would have probably beat the Pacers. And I remember at the end of the year, they smacked the Celtics where the Celtics just acted like they didn't want to play.
Yeah.
Where it was odd, right? It was wait, y'all came into the game like y'all wanted to play. Then it got out of hand and y'all acted like y'all didn't want to play.
They put up the white flag.
Yeah, to me, that was odd. I think to me, that was a sign that they were wait, these guys are playing harder than us and matching up well against us, where it's not worth it to show our hand and really go toe-to-toe with them. Let them get this one. We might see them as the 1 and 2 seed in the Eastern Conference Finals. We never got to see that. So if there ever was a time for Tibbs to really have a change of heart, change of strategy, and maybe come off of some of that, it's going to be because of the criticism from last year. And I mean, it's been every year, even going back to the Bulls, the Timberwolves. But last year's magical run as a 2 seed ended with everybody being hurt. And I think if there ever was a year for him to reconsider, it's this year.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to think that right now, I think that it's pertinent that he actually gets the bench more involved. And I think it's really, like you said, the chemistry piece, they have to see what pieces go where, who plays well with who, so on and so forth. There's a lot of mystery there because of so many new pieces and because he didn't really get to see any of the bench players really much last year. Right. Any of them that you did see that were there were usually there in emergency situations, and they didn't really get a chance to gel and cultivate their talents with a group that they have now. Cat looks fantastic. I think that we're going to see a lot more of him becoming. I don't know if it'll be a shift where you'll see Cat become more of the star versus Jalen. I think they'll kind of share that spotlight, but I think you'll definitely see right now, Cat is really feeling himself, and I think he's excited to be here. So, what do you think really that looks like by, let's just say, and I'm asking you to take out your crystal ball for a second here. What do you think that team looks like as far as seeding come the All-Star break?
Oh, I don't know. By the All-Star break, they should be in the middle of the pack. I don't know how high of a seed. Because there's trouble all around. Sixers right now. Sixers fans are panicking right now. Tyrese Maxey. I know Paul George played the other day, but now Embiid is shoving reporters. He ain't played a game yet. He's suspended. You
he
know,
comes back tonight, right? Does he come back? Oh no, he got suspended.
No, because he's got
He's supposed to come back tonight.
Yeah, but you know now the Sixers like he's ready to go because now he's gonna
got
3 games.
3 games.
I'm trying to think. The Cavs will be there. The Celtics will be there. The Nets will not be there. Maybe a 4 or 5 seed.
Pacers.
And when you think about it, like they were the 2 seed last year, but the years before that they were a 4 seed and a 5 seed.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna go back to being that middle of the pack. I don't think they're gonna get a 2 seed again. Not even a 3 seed. I think they're gonna be hovering around a 4 or 5 seed after the All-Star break and even getting closer to the end of the season.
And hopefully catch fire in the end, and and take it all the way and win the whole thing. Right?
Stay healthy, stay healthy.
Jay brought up a good point about the chemistry between Brunson and Cat. They're not on the same page with me as this. I'm going to ask you if you lend any credence to this thought of mine. This summer, Jalen blew up with Derek Jeter, Aaron Rodgers, all the big prominent figures in New York, congratulating him on Instagram. Hey, Captain, he's all over. He's in Rucker Park. He's at Dykeman. He's in
he took less money and they named a borough after him.
They named the borough after him. He's like awesome.
You heard me say on the fan, like I saw him at Fanatics Fest, and I wasn't jacking it when they're like, "Yo, King of New York." I'm like, there are no second round kings.
Right.
But when I saw the reception he had at Fanatics Fest, I'm like, he's the most famous guy in here. He is. Allen Iverson was in here. Hulk Hogan was in here. Yeah. David Ortiz was in here. Tom Brady, Derek Jeter. Nobody had pandemonium like Brunson had. So
and I don't want to say he's feeling himself, but he was absorbing it as he should, and he was he's receiving the love. But my thing is, King of New York, Savior of New York. Julius could have been his 1B to his 1A. Julius is gone. Lane is open. This is my city. This is my team. This is my town. Now Cat comes in here. Listen, Cat. I wasn't sure about the Cat shit, but I gotta give Cat props. He's balling right now, crazy, getting boards. Nice. You see what he did to Bam Adebayo a couple of days ago. I love that. I hate the Miami Heat, right? Is there a tinge? And I'm not saying Jalen don't want him to get it in. Is there a tinge of, the ego kind of, playing a part in this? There was that game where he wasn't feeding Cat as much, or is it in your opinion strictly just the chemistry thing at this point?
It's chemistry. It's growing pains. It's adjustments. It's okay. Batman was running the streets with Batman and just Batman. Then you get a Robin, and it's like, yo, Robin can take some of this heat and pressure off of you, and you got to know when to be Batman or when to be Robin. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's also this, like, these guys, they've known each other. They're both Jersey guys. I just found out that Cat is an Eagles fan. They're both Eagle fans. Like, I'm sure they got a decent relationship. They both grew up rooting for the Knicks.
Yeah,
it's just not something that's going to happen overnight.
Yeah,
right. Like Brunson's got to not learn, but like he's got to know when to feed Cat, or when Cat is hot, let Cat keep cooking, or when they start to double Cat and Cat's not like that. Now it's time for you to go get your buckets. It's a process to just reading the defense as well. And I think now, right, this isn't Jalen Brunson freshly coming to the Knicks where people were underestimating him. This is Jalen Brunson now that people are talking about as an NBA superstar, right, an all-star. The book is out on him, right? Everybody watched the playoffs and like how the Sixers defended him, and like how the Pacers try to defend him. They were able to stop him sometimes, but he was still able to go get his 40. They're gonna worry about stopping him first.
Yeah.
So when they put the focus on him, let Cat cook. If they put the focus on Cat, let Brunson cook. It's got to be a trade-off. They just got to know who is who and what is what. And then Bridges, man, you gave up all them picks for Bridges. Bridges got to be
use them. They got
to be more of a scoring threat, more of a I mean, I know he's not a ball handler, but like he's got to be more involved. If you gave up that much for the guy, in theory, to be but me as a Nets fan, I didn't even want him, and that's what I was saying. I'm like, Sean Marks and them thought he could be a 1. They thought he could be the star of the team. Yeah. I'm like, nah, he played best as like a 3, as a third option. So
in Phoenix, you mean?
Yes. Yes.
Him and Cam Johnson team. Yeah, go ahead, Q.
No, you're behind Booker and them.
Yeah, but that's a very good point. He seems the most lost at this point. You know what I mean? He doesn't, because like you say, he went from a 3 to a 1. Now he's back to a 3. So I feel like you're right. So I feel like he's trying to find his way. I noticed that even like last night he's playing, and I'm like, damn, McKell ain't really. He's trying to find his way into this offense. So it is going to take time. Listen, I know you got to go. We appreciate you spending time with us. I just want to get your thoughts real quick, because you're a Jersey guy and you mentioned, Cat being a Jersey guy and the Eagles and all that. I wanted to real quick talk about the Giants, and the Jets, but we'll start with the Giants. Your assessment on the Giants, man. I'm a super huge Giants fan.
You about to make him push me off the ledge twice.
Yeah, he gonna push Q off the ledge. Listen, they can't score for shit. They're terrible. And I think they're last in the league in points scored. Terrible in the red zone. We know that the experiment with DJ is coming to an end. Although he does look good in certain spots. My thing is, I'm worried we're gonna win a couple of frivolous games like we did last year, and wind up dropping from 3 to 6 or whatever it might be, not being able to trade up, like we couldn't do with the Patriots last year. They wound up getting Drake May. Commanders wound up getting Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels was balling out here. I'm saying? Definitely offensive rookie of the year. Could be in the MVP conversation. We wound up with Malik Neighbors, who I love, but the dire need on offense was Daniel Jones. If you're the Giants, and you're Brian Dable, I know you don't want to tank, and this is like the weird conversation everyone has. You don't want to tank, but you don't want to. I don't want to beat the Panthers this Sunday in Germany, wherever they're playing.
Oh, you better beat the Panthers.
I know you better, but what good does that do? I mean, for Dable keeping his job, yes, but as a fan, what are we supposed to do here in terms of QB?
So, scoring 15 points a game is not going to cut it. Not in this NFL with fantasy points and parlays and there's too many teams that are running up the score. I'm about to go watch the Thursday night football game with the Bengals and Ravens. I'll say this though, you can't lose to the Panthers. Joe Shane used to work for them. They got the connection there. They traded Brian Burns to you, and I've been joking all week about losing to the Panthers got Dennis Allen fired with the Saints.
Yeah.
So John Mara can come out and say he's practicing patience and that these guys are good and he's sticking with his head coach and his GM. But the Giants fan base is massive and loud. And when they were done with Gettleman, they had no choice but to, get Gettleman up out of here.
Same thing with Judge. Yep.
Yeah. So they can practice patience. Giants fans are not patient because it's been over a decade of not being competitive, a decade of not being in it for real. And you deserve better than that. New York deserves better than that. And you could do better than that. And it hurts right now because you got to watch Jaden Daniels, who you missed out on. You got to watch Saquon backwards hurdling people for the Eagles.
Unbelievable.
You know what I'm saying? It's just it's crazy because it's wait,
that guy was under our roof, right?
That's the guy we drafted.
Yeah.
That's the guy. And you put the money into Daniel Jones off of 1 year. And for me, I'm y'all didn't pick up Daniel Jones' rookie option. How you turn around and pay him all that money when you didn't believe in him from the jump?
Yeah.
You could have picked up his rookie option and avoided all this.
Right.
It would have been half of what you ended up paying him. So you can't fool us, yo. We know you don't rock with him. We know you need your own quarterback. And that's where it comes into tanking. The fans are lose every single game, tank correctly this year. Do not go and beat the Panthers. Do not go and beat the Dallas Cowboys, who are going to be playing Cooper Rush. Yep. Do not go beat the Saints, who are terrible, because that's going to change us from being a number 3 overall to a number 7 overall. And we're going to miss out on Cam Ward or miss out on Shedeur Sanders or miss out on not for nothing. If you look at Tankathon, there's going to be some teams there's teams that are bad this year and have quarterbacks in theory, but there's going to be some teams that are going to be considering taking quarterbacks. The Giants need their quarterback to complete the trifecta of your GM, head coach, quarterback. Daniel Jones is done, and I don't know when they're going to decide to just bench him so that clause in his contract is nowhere.
Yeah.
Because if he tears an Achilles, if he has a ACL tear, the way that contract is set up, I was reading about it. It's about the new year in March when the new league year starts. If he can't pass his physical, is cleared to play. That's how it triggers. But if he's got a sprained ankle or a little, a hamstring pull or whatever, you'll be fine. But how many starts do you need to see Daniel Jones play before you just anybody else? So, and not to throw Daniel Jones under the bus, but he lives under the bus. The dude has played so much and left so much to be desired, bro. You got Malik Neighbors now. Malik Neighbors been there a whole couple months, and he's talking, I don't call the plays. He's already disgruntled.
He's disgruntled.
Yeah, and he should be, because he's damn, I got drafted here and thought I could help. And we're running the ball with Tyrone Tracy the whole half. So It's a mess, man. But I'll say this: do not lose to the Panthers because that doesn't help anything. They're gonna win a couple games here. This is the stretch to win a couple games for morale and culture and to show that Brian Dable is a good head coach. But I don't know. They need to go ahead and get Tommy Cutlets back in there and just go ahead and lose out.
That's that Jersey bias, Keith. That's that Jersey bias right there.
Drew Lock was a waste of money. Drew Lock was a waste of time.
I think Drew Lock was a waste of money. But like at this point now, and this is my next question I'm going to ask you about the Giants because I think we need to lose to the Panthers because you know why? We're behind the Panthers, we're behind the Browns, we're behind 3-4 other teams, you know, that need quarterbacks, which is crazy. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, and this is
y'all about to have Jalen Milroe. Y'all about to have Jalen Milroe.
And this is this is a weak quarterback draft too. Because I was hearing Phil Simms even talk about it. You know, on WFAN and Boomer called him in. You know, and
yeah, so you don't want Sanders. You don't because Sanders coming with Dion. Like
Dion, prime, yeah.
So now let's say we do stay right here, and you know we stay in this pack where we can't get a good quarterback. You know,
you're gonna draft another old lineman.
Yeah,
that's what we do because there was rumors that potentially we may have drafted. But the rumor was that we may draft another wide receiver.
No, hell no.
Come on.
We need a corner because Deontay Banks has been getting smoked this whole year. We need some more depth on the line. We do need there's so much stuff we need. We got to really address the secondary, to be honest with you. But, you know, I don't know, man. Like, listen. Dable and Shane.
It's a terrible place to be in. It's a terrible spot to be in.
Yeah.
To be irrelevant, to be stuck in the mud. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, it's a terrible spot to be in.
We'll tell you right now, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be taking a shot at like 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, bro.
That 9:30 game.
I'm like, yo, I'm done with this. That's it. I'm gonna be doing yard work. I'm gonna be sweeping leaves in my yard or something.
Last one on the Jets, and we're gonna let you get out of here, man. Aaron has not been Aaron. We know he's older. We know he's coming off the injury. You know, we do see glimpses of you know, the old being special. I know Jay's excited because he's a Jets fan. You know, he still can spin the ball, but his mobility is gone. You know, the O-line we thought Joe Douglas had finally fixed is still a bit shaky. They're a little bit older, a little bit banged up, not as good as they were when they were on the Ravens, the Commanders, and all that stuff. You know, Fashanu is a young kid that's good for depth on the line. He has potential, but he's a rook. The pass rush has been subpar. We just, you know, Jermaine Johnson's been hurt. Will McDonald's look good. Hassan Reddick has come back. You know,
tell him, Keith, we're going to the Super Bowl. Let him know.
He's starting to look good. Right? Sauce has got beat up a little bit. Brees hot and cold. You know, Salah firing. You know, Old Brick not looking great. It just seems like a madhouse for a team constructed with this much talent on both sides of the ball. They're 3-7. Like, it's going to be a colossal failure if they don't make the playoffs. Is there any shot, even at 3-7, that the Jets make the playoffs?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there is a path here. Beat the Cardinals. And, like, the talent has to override everything. Like, to have Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall with Aaron Rodgers, like, score points. And this is a big week because the Cardinals are coming off back-to-back wins. They're looking at trying to win their division because the 49ers have been banged up, and they know now the 49ers are getting McCaffrey back, Debo. Like, they know that, like, it's time for them to tighten up and play. Go out west, beat the Cardinals, and there's a chance. And when you look at some of the other teams that are, you know, fighting, like, you know, the Bengals are fighting to get into the playoffs. If they lose to the Ravens tonight, that lessens their chances. Like, there is a chance, but you can't tell me there's a chance if you go and lose to the Cardinals in the NFC. Like, they blew that Patriots game. They have to rally now. They got to rip off a win streak here to at least keep the fans engaged. And they have the talent to do it. And you know, they just got rid of Mike Williams. Like, let's see what that offense looks like. You know, Malachi Corley, this kid's dropping the ball, telling everybody, I scored 200 touchdowns in my career. It's nothing. Like, you know, he's gonna get reps. Like, here it is. It's now or never. Aaron Rodgers getting no younger. Like, they got to win these games.
Absolutely. You heard it here first, y'all.
That's it. Keith, man, we appreciate you hanging out with us, spending time with us. It's an honor. You know what I mean? We rep you. We on you know, we behind you. Pause, you know, and the whole bit. And we want to thank you, my brother. Real talk. You know what I mean?
You know what it is, man. Like, when I first came in, I was saying, like, I'm super busy. and like I make time. I checked you guys out, and I'm like, all right, bet. I don't make time for everybody, but like I do understand what I represent. I do understand that there really has never been any brothers or anybody that like has even been a man of the people like that on WFAN. Like I'm at Yankee Stadium, I'm at Citi Field, I'm at MSG, I'm at Barclays Center, I'm at MetLife. Like I'm a regular fan, I'm a regular dude. But through the grind and the work and faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, I got the opportunity to do what I'm doing. But keep doing what you guys are doing. Like, not for nothing, there's a part of me that wants to get back into doing this.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's an uphill battle for me. Yeah. You know, in the industry, it's an uphill battle. I know sometimes y'all might hear Al Cintrone, right? Like Al Cintrone, you know, just to even have a Latino, Hispanic, Puerto Rican on WFAN is crazy. Like we've never had it.
Yes.
And not for nothing, that's not what they want. But it's obvious. This is New York. Like when you break down the demographic of the listeners, there's a lot of Black and Latino listeners, and it's sports. It's not news. It's not, you know. So I understand what I represent. I understand what I'm doing, and I appreciate you guys listening and supporting and reaching out 100%. To have me on the podcast.
Absolutely. Salute. Hopefully we'll talk soon.
Keep shining.
Of course. Yo, I'll be on later tonight, man. So if you're up, if you're awake, tune in to WFAN. And also when this goes out, tag me. I'll retweet. I'll share all that. You know, make sure you guys get some extra eyes.
Appreciate that, brother. Be good, man. Thanks again.
Peace. Have a good one.
You too.
Later.
Peace.